What's going on, guys? Lon here from Android Authority, and one of the biggest advantages of Android is its openness, and that openness has led to one very unique device from ZTE. What does a portable projector running Android have to offer, and who exactly is this product for? Well, that's what we're here to find out with the ZTE SPro 2. The SPro 2 is ZTE's second foray into the portable projector space, and they've made a lot of improvements over last year's SPro, aka the Live Pro on Sprint. The design is basically just a large square with rounded corners and flat sides all around, and it measures in at about 1 inch in thickness. It's shaped sort of like an Amazon Fire TV, but it's much bigger due to the display on top and obviously the projector that's housed on the front. It's mostly made of metal with the exception of the bottom and weighs a little over a pound, but it certainly doesn't feel heavy, and if anything the weight makes it feel very substantial and less like a toy in comparison to last year's model. Going around the rest of the device, the volume buttons can be found on the left side, and they're very tactile, very easy to press, and the same can be said about the power button up top. On the right side is a fan to keep things cool, and along the rear is where all the I/O is located. There's a proprietary port for charging, HDMI, USB 3.0 port, and a 3.5mm headphone jack, and below all of that sits a micro SIM and SD card slot for additional storage. Finally, on the bottom are little rubber feet to keep the projector from sliding around, a standard size tripod mount for mounting the projector on a tripod obviously, and a tiny kickstand if you want to prop the device upwards. The display on top is much larger now at 5 inches and brings 720p resolution to the table, which will allow for HD content not only on the screen itself, but also the projector. It's not a super high res or pixel dense display, but on a device like this, it doesn't really need to be. If you're using the SPro 2 as a projector or Wi-Fi hotspot, you won't be looking at the screen all that much, but it's still nice that ZTE included an HD screen. It's bright, vivid, with good colors and viewing angles, so if you decide to treat it as a miniature tablet of sorts to play games, read emails, browse the web, etc., it'll certainly be good enough for that. It's a little bit odd to talk about specs and performance on a projector, but ZTE did pack some power on the SPro 2 to handle the more standard parts of the Android experience. Under the hood is a Snapdragon 800, Adreno 330, and 2 gigs of RAM. Yes, I know this may sound a little bit dated, but again, this is a projector first and foremost, and everything else is secondary. Regardless, the Snapdragon 800 still performs very well here, and everything from web browsing, multitasking, and intense gaming run perfectly fine if you really want to hammer down on this device. Just be aware that certain games and apps like Hangouts and Skyforce can be a little awkward on this device due to their portrait orientations. The SPro 2 comes with the usual Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and LTE connectivity to not only stream content on the go, but also share the device's connection as a Wi-Fi hotspot for up to 10 devices. There's also 16 gigabytes of built-in storage, which isn't a lot for such a media-centric device, but the micro SD card slot supports up to 2 terabytes of additional storage, which is a ton of space for movies or anything else that you'd like to store. For audio, the internal speaker is located on the bottom, and it's actually plenty loud with great clarity for a single speaker, but if you want a better audio experience, you can link up your own headphones or speakers via Bluetooth or the headphone jack. The star of the show and the main reason why anyone would buy this device is for the projector. There's also some custom software made specifically for the projector, but first let's start with the projector itself. It's a DLP projector that measures in at 200 lumens in brightness, which is double that of last year's model, and is capable of outputting a 720p image up to 120 inches in screen size. The projector is pretty bright and is still fairly easy to see in a well-lit room, but in order to take advantage of the highest brightness setting, it unfortunately requires being plugged into a power source. The SPro 2 also features keystoning, and if you're not familiar with that term, essentially what this means is the image will always maintain a rectangular image even if the projector is not perfectly horizontal. This helps prevent a trapezoid effect that typically happens on projectors that don't have keystoning. You may have noticed that the SPro 2 does not feature a physical wheel or switch for controlling focus, and that's because the focusing is all controlled through software now. By default, the projector focuses automatically within a few seconds after you've aimed it at a wall. The autofocus works extremely well, but if you prefer manual focus, you do have that option within the projector settings. As far as projecting content, this can be done in 3 different ways. Content can be streamed or played locally directly from the device itself, via Miracast, or connecting another device through HDMI. Streaming or playing locally stored content directly from the projector is the easiest way, as it requires no extra wires or additional setup to get things going, but transferring content isn't always ideal, and that's where HDMI and Miracast comes in. The HDMI port allows laptops or any other device that supports HDMI to be hooked up, and this is a great option not for only just regular media, but also things like web pages and PowerPoint presentations for business or work purposes. The last option is Miracast, and this lets any device supporting Miracast be connected, like your phone or tablet for example. Once connected, any content from your device will be shown through the projector, and it actually works surprisingly well with very little latency between the connected device and the projector. On the software front, the S Pro 2 is running Android 4.4 KitKat, but instead of a stock experience like on last year's S Pro, ZTE has skinned the Android experience for easier navigation and a more projector-friendly interface. The interface features large tiles, grids of icons, and individual tabs at the top to easily find what you're looking for, and additional tabs can be created for any applications that you may want to group together. There's also a floating bubble that lets you quickly turn on the projector regardless of whether you're in an application or on the home screen. It's extremely useful to have, especially when you find content that you want to project at a moment's notice, and it just makes turning on the projector a lot quicker and easier. For the battery, the S Pro 2 has a rather hefty 6300 mAh battery inside, and ZTE promises 3 hours of projector time and 10 hours of Wi-Fi hotspot, and so far my testing has fallen in line with those claims. After streaming a 2.5 hour long movie starting from a full charge, I would be down to anywhere between 20 to 25%, which I have no doubts is enough to get roughly another 30 to 45 minutes of video playback, and there was even one instance where I managed to go a little bit beyond ZTE's 3-hour claim. This is a big improvement over the original S Pro, which was only capable of only 2 hours of projector use at best. The ZTE SPro 2 will be available exclusively on AT&T starting on April 24th for a price of $399.99 on a 2-year contract, or $499.99 if you want to buy outright, plus an additional $10 monthly fee on AT&T's mobile share value plan. Now the price is a little bit steep, especially for purely casual use like movies and games. It's going to be really hard to justify, but for more business use cases like PowerPoint presentations and slideshows and things of that nature, it could totally be worth the investment, and you can still use it for the occasional movie or two on your downtime. There's no denying that the S Pro 2 is a niche product, but for what it's designed to do, it does it all very well and addresses many of the weaknesses of the original S Pro, like the poor battery life, low resolution, and brightness output. It's a simple projector that's also portable and powerful, and if that's exactly what you need, that's exactly what you'll get with the S Pro 2. As always guys, thank you so much for watching this video. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up down below. We definitely appreciate it. And also subscribe to the channel, which is also down below if you haven't already. And if you want to see more, make sure to check out the links over here on the side. And don't forget to check out the website as well for more in-depth coverage. AndroidAuthority.com, because we are your source for all things Android.